computer. That's what this video is about, right? I think that's the title I put on it. So let's talk about that, okay? So, you know, if you got a project studio, you obviously know you need a computer for the most part. Now, this is all about computers. So if you're using something else, maybe a dedicated digital mixer, or maybe you're all analog, this video is probably not for you. Probably move on. But if you're using a computer in your studio, hang around. Let's talk about this. All right. And so we all need a computer if we're going to record in our project studio, okay, in modern day technology, right? It's in my opinion, it is absolutely the cornerstone of your project studio or your recording studio. It's fundamentally the single most important decision that you need to make, okay, to get started or to continue to grow, right? And so a lot of thought has to be put into that computer, whether it's your first purchase or whether it's time for an upgrade. Okay. So this is one of the things that sadly so many people get so hooked on, almost addicted to buying 500 series units, buying outboard hardware, buying a lot of bells and whistles, plugins, virtual instruments, all of these other things, spending that money on those things and just simply maybe not focusing on the computer because they see the computer as a substantial purchase. Okay. And if you've bought the right computer, it should be a large purchase when you're comparing everything else. You always, always, always want to buy as much computer as you can afford. If you happen to be on the Windows side of things, then you absolutely must build your own computer. Put it together yourself, do your research, figure out what components you need, and build it yourself. I promise you, it is incredibly easy. I've built well over 40 PCs over the years for studios. Okay, I had a side business doing that for a long time. So I know it's easy. I'm telling you, it's a piece of cake. We just built one for my son for his gaming PC, and he built it, and I just kind of sit back and watched, and he's 16 and he did it. No problem. It's a piece of cake. It's so easy. So consider doing that, right? Don't pay somebody to do that for you. It really is incredibly easy. Okay. So you've got to figure out, you want to make sure you're buying as much computer as you can afford because ultimately that's the core of it. All your ability to process more tracks, your ability to process more plugins, your ability to be able to record at lower latencies, all of these things, your ability to not have error codes and things like that. A lot of that ties into your computer and its individual components that ultimately make up the computer. And so rule number one, always, always, always buy as much computer as you can afford. Okay. Right. All right. So rule number two, do not upgrade your computer until it no longer does what you need it to do. Some of you out there just want to buy the next latest and greatest. For the project studio, when it comes to computers, that is not a healthy way of looking at it. Okay. Because if you buy too early and when you don't even need the additional power that new computer is giving you, when you buy too early, all that does is mean later on when you need to replace that computer again, and you will, right? Later on when you need to replace that computer, and you buy the next one, you could have bought a more powerful computer had you waited until later, because we always know every so often they continue to do more and more and more and go up and up in processing power with CPUs. All right. So wait until you absolutely, it just cannot do it for you anymore. You're just pushing the limits of it. It's getting in your way of being productive. Then by all means, that's when you need to pull that trigger and buy that computer or build that computer, whatever you're going to ultimately do. That's when you need to do it. Wait until you have to do it, not because you want to do it. I can't tell you how valuable that advice is. If you're building a PC, buy quality components. If you buy a cheap PC, you're going to get problems. You're going to get all kinds of problems because a lot of things are integrated. Okay. You don't want integrated. You want individual components. You do not want a video card built into your motherboard. Okay. You don't want that. You want to be able to upgrade that and replace that whenever you want to. You want to be able to make sure that the motherboard you have in there has the type of connections and as many of them as you need. Whether you need PCIe card slots to be able to put various peripherals in that, whether it's an HDX card, whether it's a UAD satellite card, or whether it's other IO cards. There's many different reasons why you can ultimately need the PCIe slots. All right. You want to make sure it has the connections and enough of them. Today, you pretty much have two popular styles of connectors for interfaces, okay? And that's USB-C and Thunderbolt. You can't find Thunderbolt on as many PCs, so therefore your options for motherboard are going to be quite limited, at least as of today. Now that may continue to change, but both Thunderbolt C and what do you call it? No, I'm sorry, Thunderbolt and USB-C, the most recent versions are equally compatible and interchangeable as far as speed and efficiency and effectiveness and things like that. You just have to make sure whatever interface you're using, what type of connection does it use? All right, and so you want to make sure that it's got everything you need if you're on that. These things typically come already on a Mac. These things are pretty universal in that stuff, so you shouldn't have to concern yourself with that, right? And so do that. Now, if you're on the Mac side of things, look for used. Oftentimes, depending on how much money you're spending, you can actually upgrade to a more powerful computer. It doesn't have to be the one that just came out if it's significantly powerful where you are. If you're on a computer that's 10 years old today, okay, then and you don't and you have limited funds, it makes a lot more sense sometimes to buy, a computer used where you can get more processing power if you can't afford to buy one new. So that's an option too. Trying to buy used PC on the market for studio work, I have found that it's just not practical. But you may find something and that may work for you. But certainly, if you can get the most recent, the most powerful that's out that day, that's what you want to do to an extent. You don't have to go full board, like full blown, right? But you want to build a powerful computer or buy a powerful computer, get the most you can for your money. Now, a lot of us love getting the most recent of everything, right? Whether it's that going from Windows 10 to Windows 11, go to it right away. Whether it's going from Big Sur to Monterey or from Catalina to Big Sur, whatever that may be, depending on which operating system that you're on. A lot of people want to rush right into it because they think it's better. Oftentimes, especially on the Mac, very little benefits come from upgrading the operating system as it relates to DAWs. Now that there are exceptions, there have been times where it's actually been exceptional and made a huge difference, positive going forward, but they don't typically matter. So a general rule of thumb is if it's working and everything works, you're not having any compatibility issues. There's no concern that you have for future compatibility issues, at least for the reasonable future, then, okay? Then do not upgrade your operating system. Stay where you are. If you think you're going to go to that next level operating system and not have any issues, well, that's not likely. Now, if you're got a for hire place and situation where time is money, by all means. I mean, you've got a lot of people out there. Most professional recording studios are on systems that are pretty much set up for 10 years ago, right? They haven't updated them anything. They're not trying to run the latest and greatest stuff because it works. If it works, it works, okay? Sometimes you have situations where you don't have a choice. Obviously, going from Windows 10 to Windows 11, as people continue to write more software and stuff for 11, we'll start getting things you're not available on Windows 10 potentially over time, and you'll need to make that change. Like making the change now between Apple to Apple Silicon. It's too early to do that right now. As much of a fan of it as I am and an embracer of it as I am, I know and fully expect to have some issues for a little while. That's always been the case. Everyone always has short-term memory when it comes to this stuff. But when you've been doing this for 40 years like I have, you've pretty much seen it all and experienced it all at this point, okay? So, you know, keep your operating system, keep your, the where you're at on your DAW. Try to keep that at the same spot for as long as it can if it's working. All sometimes these new benefits are not that beneficial. And if you are going to upgrade to, an unsupported operating system, okay, or computer, or not computer, but operating system, then install that new operating system on a separate hard drive and then try it that way. That way, if you've got problems, you can always reboot back into your older system. Okay. So do that as it relates to computers in the studio. Now, backup, backup, backup. I got another video out on that. Go watch it for more in depth stuff, but make sure you're backing up, backing up, backing up. I cannot tell you how important that is. I'm not just talking about the operating system, which of course is important, okay, if not critical. In case you have an issue, you can get back up and running very quickly, but also for all of your files, all of your sessions and everything, you want to have redundancy in there. So go watch my video on backups and make sure you're doing those things because those things are important. So the general rule of thumb is, if you're at the stage you're ready to buy a computer, buy the most powerful computer that you can find. Two, if new computers are out and you're interested in doing it, wait. Do not upgrade your computer until you need to. It's giving you problems. It's slowing you down. It's getting in your way. That's the time to upgrade. Wait, you will get the most of your money by doing that. Okay. When you get to an operating system that works for you, okay, and you're not missing anything with any other future features or things like that, stay there. Before you upgrade, make sure you do your homework. Go into forums about it. Find the issues that other people are having. If you feel absolutely compelled to go to the most modern or most recent version of either your DAW, a version of your plugins, or version of your operating system, do that on a separate hard drive. Okay. Create a separate hard drive. Everything's working great. Everything's fine. At some point, you can either use that hard drive as your system drive or clone that hard drive back to your system drive and continue to go forward. Okay. So these are the things that you need to compare or consider when when you're trying to make decisions for the computer in your studio, because never forget, it is the foundation, the cornerstone of your recording studio. You can surround yourself with all the bells and whistles you want. You can have the greatest hardware out there you want. You can buy the most expensive virtual instruments and plugins and have the greatest DAW on the freaking planet if one exists, okay? You can have all of that, but if you can't run it, you ain't got crap, okay? And that computer's doing your heavy lifting for you, all right? So I got a lot of videos out there. Go out and watch some of them. Okay. Go check them out. I encourage you. In the meantime, hit that like button. I'm looking at myself over here. Let me try and get this right. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell. Yay. I did it. Everybody's proud of me now. I got it done. Until next time, have yourself a great freaking computer day. Go out and compute something and eat a chili dog. Bye-bye.